So to access Adobe Spark, it's actually a web-based software program. So you go to spark.adobe.com and you're going to come to this screen. To log in, you go up to the upper right-hand corner where it says sign in here, and you click. And it's going to come to this screen. And you want to make sure that you choose login with school account over here on the right. And when you do that, you want to put in your Middlesex email address. And it's important you do that because you have access through Middlesex. So plug that in. And just be really careful when you put yours in that you're not copying the end part of mine because the professor accounts are different than the student accounts. And you click continue. And then you want to make sure that you choose company or school account. And once you do that, it's going to bring you to a login screen to log in with your A number and your password, just like it looks like when you're logging into your email account. Mine is already saved with my password, so it just clicks through and brings me to the start screen. So once you've logged in, this is what it looks like when you first come into Spark. And you can create a project quickly by clicking on this blue button over here with the plus sign that says create a project. But what we are actually going to do is we're going to come over here to where it says custom size graphic, and we're going to click. And we're going to go ahead and type in the dimensions for a book cover, which are 1600 by 2560 pixels. Once you've typed that in, you can go ahead and click next. And that brings us to just the basic screen for Spark. It's not a program that has a ton of bells and whistles. It's not very complicated. It's a really clean program, which I like. The very first thing I would do is up here in the upper left-hand corner where it says projects and it says my post. I would click and I would give it a unique name. So I'm going to call this Jen's front cover. And you're going to have two different files, one for the front cover and one for the back cover. And so I'm going to go over here. One thing you need to be careful of, there are all these awesome templates, and that's great. The problem is if you click them, what it will do is it will change the dimensions of the project that you're starting over here. So avoid those. But what you'll notice over here are the tools that come with this particular program. So if you click templates, it shows you templates. If you click design, what it does is it gives you different design variations that you can choose and then put onto your project. Okay. And so it gives you the general layout, and then from there what you can do is add your own text and images. Okay. Under that we have options for colors. I really like this, especially for those of you who are nervous about putting together colors and trying to find ones that work well together. These are all color palettes that kind of come pre-packaged for you, and you can choose one, and what it does is it will automatically change everything in your project as you add things to conform to that color palette. So if you're a little bit nervous about choosing colors that are going to work well together, this is a great place to start. Find one that you find appealing, that you feel like represents the mood of your book, and kind of go from there. The next thing you can do is choose layout. Layout's really nice. We covered page layout in Blackboard, and there are grids. You can use these different grids. And so if you were to choose a grid, you'll notice it applies that color palette to it. The other nice thing about grids is that you can resize them so that they actually look like the dimensions you want. All right, so these are all options. Once you've made the grid, if you click on a particular section, you see up here it says suggested colors. Those come from your palette. You can actually stay within your palette and change the different sections of the grid. You can also, once you're in there, add an image to a particular part of the grid. You can upload a photo. You can find free photos. I'm going to do a little Harry Potter theme, I think, so look for wizards. So I can add just this image right to the grid, and it goes right in there. So again, if you're not totally comfortable with page layout, you may want to start with a grid down here under layout. Resize allows you to resize your project. You don't want to do that in this case. These are very specific dimensions, so make sure you stick with that. So that's sort of the basic set of options that you have to the left. Now the other thing you can do is you can add text and you can add photographs and graphics. So to do that, you click the add button up here. Text is one option. like with anything else, it comes with some prefab templates that they've got, and it also, you can start from scratch and add your own text. Again, that is up to you all what you want to do. I'm going to just grab one, throw it here. If I want to resize this, I just grab from any of the corners, okay, and I can resize it. It keeps the aspect ratio, so the height and width, the same as I do that. And you'll notice that the color of this font is from that color palette that I chose. But even when you choose one of these templates, if you go over here to the right, one of the things you'll notice is that my menu has changed. I have a whole bunch of options to work with for my text. So I can choose the type of font I use. So my primary and secondary font can be different than what it comes with. I can resize it. And you'll notice the purple dashed line comes up. That's just to help you center things within different parts of your design. Okay, I can choose whether I'm going to left align my font, center it, I'm going to capitalize all of it. I can choose the size of my font, how close the letters are, so that you can do the kerning and the leading through here. They just call it letter spacing and line spacing. You can also change the opacity. Okay, so those are some basic type styles that you can change. You can also change the colors. So again, the suggested from your color palette are here, but you can totally go off of that if you want to. And you can change your secondary and primary colors. Okay. All right. So those are some options there. You can also change the shape. Right now we have sort of this background that is a rectangle, but we could change that to almost anything that we wanted to. Okay. All right, and then you can also add text effects. So if I wanted to add a drop shadow, if I wanted to add an outline, I can do that. Any of these other ones, you can also click none and get rid of them. And then finally, if you're stuck and you just want to play around, you can choose style, and it'll actually scroll through a bunch of different ones. I actually kind of like that one better, so I'm going to stick with that for now. And again, I can click on it, drag it around, and I can move it where I want to move it. Okay. So I've added some text. Maybe now I want to add a photo. So I click photo, and again, I can upload. And this is where I want to impress upon you all. Part of the requirement for the book project for this design is to have a bio of your author, a headshot of your author, a quote or two about the book, and a little summary, as well as an ISBN code. And all of that falls on the back cover. You do not have to create any of that. Okay, this is where Dr. Google is super handy, and you're going to get into Google and grab a headshot, grab the ISBN code, copy and paste someone else's summary and the bio about the author. This project isn't about whether you can craft those messages. It's about, can you put together an appealing visual design for a book? So you need those elements so that you can design it, but you don't have to be the one who created them all. So don't stress about that. So when you grab the photo online, you would then choose upload photo and upload it from your computer to here. And again, you can do find free photos. There are a couple other options as well. Adobe Stock is really cool. I don't know if you have access to it as students. I know I do as a professor, but it's just great stock photos that are royalty free that you can use. You can also just click find free photos. So my wizard is still in there from when I searched earlier. I can take a look and see if there's anything else I want to put in here. Maybe I'll do this one. And now I can add it to the collage, which means it'll go into one of these prefab boxes because I did the layout, or I can click move freely, in which case I can put it anywhere I want. Okay, so maybe I'm going to put it right here. All right. And again, I can change opacity, I can change the order, which means, if I have other things, like for example, I've got this text, I can throw it behind the text by changing the order. Okay, so that's anything that's not connected to the background. Anything that's part of the grid is part of the background. I can't change the order of that. That's always going to be the bottommost. I can flip things horizontally and vertically. I can crop it. I can also do what's called a shape crop, which can be kind of fun. So like maybe I want to just have a circle. can do that there. And then I can replace it, and I can also add filters to it. So there are all kinds of, if I want to blur it out, if I want to make it lighter, I can use the multiply filter, the colorize. Actually is kind of cool because it matches this. And so again, it pulls from that color palette that I had chosen earlier. Okay, so also got the option to add what are called icons, also known as graphics. All right, so if I throw a wizard in there again, I'll probably get a bunch of wands. Yeah, I've got all kinds of stuff. So I can choose an icon, and you'll notice once again it's coming up with the same color palette. Okay, it doesn't mean that I have to keep it that color. If you go over here to the right, I can choose from the suggested colors, and I can have it be any other color I want. I also can match it with the ones down here if I wanted to. So lots of options. And then you can change the opacity here. And again, I can change the order, and I can flip it horizontally and vertically. So there are a bunch of different options there. So those are the basic tools. The only other one is the logo. If you have a logo that you've designed for yourself, by all means, feel free to add it. What the logo option is for really people who are using this for either their personal branding or for a company or an educational site, and they have a logo and they want that logo to appear on all of their marketing materials, you can upload it and then add it to each one of your designs. Okay. So once you've created this front cover and you're happy with it, what you can do is to get it to me, you just click the download button up here on the top right. It automatically goes to PNG. You click Start Download. It goes into your Downloads folder. From there, you upload it into Blackboard, both to the assignment and to the book cover design critique folder on the discussion boards, so that your classmates can also critique what you've done, and then you can go in and critique their work as well. Once you finish the first project, if you go up here to the top left, it says SP, but once you roll over it, it turns into a little home. You click that, and it saves your post. And once it's finished saving it for you, it'll bring us back to the main screen. And once you're here, you'll notice under your recent projects, you can get back to it, you can edit it. But what you'll do is you go back into custom size, repeat the whole process, and make the back cover, and make sure you download that as well. That's it. It's a very basic program. It's really fun to use. You may find yourself making other social media posts, or you can make graphics for videos. You can do all kinds of stuff. You actually can make videos. So feel free to explore it, especially while you have access to it through school.